Oh, no, that was it. No, when I get nervous, I tell the truth.
One of Jay-Z's day ones, like one of the original Circle crew members, brothers.
30 years.
30 years. How'd y'all first connect?
Streets, man. It was a connection through a music.
And it was pretty much said like, Jay doesn't really want awards. Well, he go to the Grammys.
Right.
He you know, come into the black-owned spaces. Let's figure out how to work together so that way we have the relationship when it matters, not when it's convenient for you and your image. Because they all call us when the story.
Before his sudden and shocking end in April 2016, Prince was reportedly on the verge of exposing something massive. Secrets that could have shattered Jay-Z and Beyoncé's entire empire. Insiders are now whispering that the same evidence he gathered before his death, the one everyone thought was buried for good, is slowly leaking out again. And apparently, the Carters are in full-blown panic mode, allegedly trying to buy silence and scrub every trace off the grid. Sources claim they believe they'd wiped out every backup, every hidden drive, every copy of those explosive files, but something's clearly resurfacing, and now it's got them scrambling for cover. If the leaks are real, the question isn't if Prince was digging into their secrets anymore. It's who's holding that evidence today, and why now when Diddy's whole world is falling apart in court. Prince's passing was officially labeled an accident, but everything that followed smelled like chaos and betrayal. The timing was wild. Just months before, Prince had handed over rare, unreleased recordings to Jay-Z's streaming platform, Tidal, trusting that Jay would protect his art and stand up for artists' rights. That bond looked like mutual respect until it turned ugly fast. After Prince's death, his estate came for Tidal and Rock Nation hard, accusing them of backdating fake contracts and illegally claiming ownership of hundreds of songs. Court filings painted the picture of a desperate scramble. Jay-Z's camp allegedly trying to hold on to Prince's entire vault like it already belonged to them. By 2017, Jay-Z decided to flip the entire legal mess into art, turning pain into bars on his 444 album. One track in particular made waves, where he took direct aim at Prince's estate advisors, accusing them of selling out and twisting the singer's legacy. In the song, Jay claimed, "I sat down with Prince eye to eye. He told me his wishes before he passed." That line hit hard. It painted him as the only one who truly understood Prince, drawing a clear line between himself and the estate's lawyers. But it also reignited the feud in public, turning a private legal fight into hip-hop history. The estate fired back quick. Their lawyers accused Jay-Z and Tidal of forging and backdating contracts, saying the supposed deal never matched Prince's real communications or intentions. On one side, Jay's camp saw it as a smear campaign. On the other, the estate saw cold manipulation. Either way, it left the world asking one haunting question. What was really in Prince's vault that made billionaires claw at each other like this? Then came a wild twist. Reports claimed Jay-Z had flown Prince's sister, Tyka, out to New York for a private sit-down. Sources close to the situation say he allegedly offered her around $40 million for the entire catalog, Prince's vault, his life's work, everything. But instead of shock over how high the number was, the industry gasped at how low it sounded for a treasure like that. That raised even more suspicion. Analysts started wondering, what else was inside that vault? Some insiders whispered that Prince didn't just stash music, but personal records, names, notes, and secrets about powerful execs and artists, including Jay-Z and Beyoncé. None of it's officially confirmed, but the whispers follow a familiar pattern. Everyone who tried to control Prince's legacy ended up fighting over more than just his music. Jay-Z's defenders call it just business, but when you trace the timeline, it paints a darker picture. One of a man whose rise was built on the same ruthless energy he once rapped about. The receipts are public.
I think that they don't want, if they was in any of those freak-off tapes, if they played a part in any of those Diddy sessions, they don't want it to get out to the general public to make a...
Back in 1999, Jay-Z pled guilty after stabbing producer Lance Rivera during a heated argument over a bootleg album. he walked away with probation. Fast forward 2 years, and he's back in headlines, arrested after cops found a loaded gun in his entourage's car outside a Manhattan club. His bodyguard took the fall, and Jay walked free again. And way before all that, he openly admitted in interviews that he made his first real money hustling on Brooklyn corners, saying the streets taught him everything about survival, risk, and profit. Over time, Jay flipped that past into legend, turning street hustle into brand power. But that same energy never really left. It just moved from street corners to corporate boardrooms. By the mid-2000s, he wasn't just a rapper anymore. He was a mogul. Clean suits, billion-dollar moves, and an image built side by side with Beyoncé, the flawless power couple who sold perfection. Their entire empire ran on control and reputation. That's why the Prince battle hit different. It cracked the armor. Suddenly, the man who preached ownership and integrity was being accused of faking documents, manipulating grieving family members, and seizing creative property right after a legend's death. Court filings even showed Tidal allegedly streaming over 15 albums of Prince's music after he passed, without proper clearance. Even songs Prince never wanted online somehow ended up streaming worldwide. The estate blasted Jay-Z's company, accusing them of exploiting that moment of confusion right after Prince's death, betting that no one would dare challenge a billionaire. But when it hit court, things got nasty. Emails were suddenly hidden behind something called a common interest doctrine, a legal loophole that made investigators raise eyebrows and wonder what they were really protecting. To everyone watching, it stopped looking like a mix-up and started feeling like a full-on power grab that spiraled out of control. But while Jay-Z was locking horns with Prince's estate, another storm was brewing. And this one was even darker. Sean Diddy Combs, the same man who once threw those legendary all-white parties where Jay-Z and Beyoncé smiled for the cameras, was being accused of running something sinister behind the glamour. Federal documents now claim those parties were actually cover-ups for a criminal network. Secret encounters, hidden cameras, and tapes allegedly used for leverage. Former guests and insiders confirmed that Diddy kept vaults of those recordings, captured during what he called his freak-off sessions. Prosecutors described them as twisted, high-end performances arranged by staff and filmed purely for control and blackmail. And suddenly, the rumors about Prince start sounding less crazy. The man never trusted the industry's middlemen, so if anyone could have gathered dirt on what was happening behind those velvet ropes, it was him. Several lawsuits have even mentioned that Jay-Z and Beyoncé attended those same circles before cutting ties. And now, Jay-Z's name keeps popping up again in multiple filings connected to Diddy's orbit, including one early 2000s party where both men were accused of serious misconduct. Jay-Z brushed it all off as nothing but blackmail, but let's be real, the pattern is way too loud to ignore. Once again, his lawyers came out swinging, denying everything and waving around public alibis. But in gossip circles, the timing looks way too perfect. Diddy's empire is crumbling while Prince's so-called lost files are suddenly reappearing. If it's all a coincidence, it's a wild one. But if it's connected, then we might finally understand why the Carters are allegedly monitoring every new leak site that dares to mention Prince's name. Prince's vault has always been the stuff of legend. Endless shelves of tapes, rare footage, handwritten notes, and unreleased collabs filling rooms inside Paisley Park. But insiders who helped catalog the vault say not everything in there was about music. Some claim there were sealed envelopes and encrypted hard drives labeled with nothing but numbers. One former estate advisor even told a trade magazine that certain materials were sensitive and never meant for public release. After Prince's universal deal for the vault collapsed in legal chaos, things reportedly got even messier. Ownership bounced between hands, paperwork vanished, and somewhere in that shuffle, entire batches of files may have disappeared. That's exactly where this new rumor picks up. Word is, a batch of digital archives allegedly taken during those early estate audits has resurfaced again, and people are whispering that what's inside is explosive. These files supposedly connect powerful business empires, secret recordings, and private leverage tied to the same network now being dragged into federal court. If that's even half true, the fallout could shake the entire industry. What started as a simple streaming dispute over music might have snowballed into a full-blown war for power, a battle over reputations, alliances, and maybe even evidence of behavior that goes way beyond the entertainment world.
But Diddy parties and Diddy After Dark are two different things. I want to go on record of saying I never saw Jay-Z at a Diddy After Dark party. Then again, I wasn't there, so I don't know who was there. But I know that I saw Jay-Z at the Diddy.
Insiders claim the Carters have been quietly reaching out to people who once worked close to Prince, offering consultation deals and tight NDAs in exchange for silence. Others say it's just damage control, a move to keep their image spotless. Either way, something's clearly got them nervous. Each week, a new rumor surfaces. Encrypted hard drives, mysterious documents linking Diddy, Roc Nation, and even private investigators once hired by Prince's own circle. None of it's confirmed, but there are too many whispers for it to be ignored anymore. And when you start connecting the dots, the path looks wild. From Prince's vault in Minneapolis to lawsuits brewing in New York to the federal indictments unraveling in Los Angeles. People close to the estate said that when the first official inventory of Prince's vault was finally completed, a few insiders noticed something chilling. Several catalog numbers listed in old manifests were missing from the final report. They weren't songs. They were labeled only as miscellaneous media. And some believe that's what everyone's been hunting for. The non-musical files that could explain why so many powerful figures are now acting like they barely even knew Prince. Meanwhile, as prosecutors dig deeper into Sean Diddy Combs' empire, the court filings read like something out of a movie. Investigators describe an organized operation behind those infamous freak-off events, with assistants handling logistics, transportation, and who knows what else. Private jets booked under fake names. Entire hotel floors rented out for nights that blurred the line between pleasure, power, and straight-up fear. The new indictments read like a nightmare, showing trails of cash transfers, shipments of medical supplies, and so-called performance enhancers moved across states under coded invoices. Prosecutors even listed receipts, digital logs, and what they're calling multimedia recordings, hard evidence recovered from raids in Los Angeles and Miami. When news broke that authorities seized over 1,000 bottles of lubricant during those searches, tabloids turned it into a joke. But prosecutors said it was no punchline. They called it part of a documented system, organized, cataloged, and allegedly used as leverage against participants. Diddy, of course, denies everything and swears it'll all fall apart in court. But the deeper this case gets, the darker it looks. And the more famous names start circling the drain with him. In one bombshell civil filing that briefly set the internet on fire, both Jay-Z and Beyoncé were named as potential witnesses, accused of attending one of Diddy's infamous private events years ago. But just days later, the same filing was quietly amended, and every mention of them vanished without explanation. Jay-Z's lawyer rushed to shut it down, claiming the rapper wasn't even in Florida at the time, pointing to photos and appearances in New York that supposedly proved it. That one moment showed the strange reality around the Carters. No matter how fast they deny or distance themselves, their names keep resurfacing in the mess. Then, just like that, everything vanished. Mentions erased, headlines scrubbed, and silence fell as legal walls snapped shut overnight. Insiders call it the fastest cleanup machine in the business. To some, that screams innocence. To others, it looks exactly like panic. The kind that hits when a story cuts too close to home. The latest whispers say the new leaks about the Carters didn't come from any courtroom or journalist, but from documents Prince himself compiled. According to sources, those papers were part of a private investigation Prince was quietly conducting before his death, digging into industry exploitation, hidden contracts, and shady deals involving some of the biggest names in music.
And I'm not saying allegedly.
Oh.
I'm saying, Sean Carter, you're a piece of shit. Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough. You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston.
When Prince passed, his vault wasn't just a treasure chest of unheard tracks. it was a black box. Insiders now claim copies of that archive were secretly stored outside Paisley Park. And what's leaking today might be pieces of that, old emails, handwritten notes, maybe even short video fragments. If that's true, it explains a lot, like why billionaires are suddenly trying to buy silence through private channels that leave no paper trail. It's not just about legacy anymore. It's about exposure. Jay-Z's post-Prince image overhaul now looks different in hindsight. His 444 album painted him as a wise, self-aware mogul, preaching ownership, honesty, and emotional growth. But behind that polished rebirth, his companies were still being accused of shady contract manipulation and forged agreements with Prince's estate. Court filings from NPG Records even claimed that Tidal backdated an equity term sheet just to justify streaming over 500 of Prince's songs without full authorization. Emails from that time didn't line up with Jay-Z's version of events. Prosecutors said the supposed deal with Prince simply didn't exist the way he described it. On record, Jay claimed he was honoring Prince's wishes, and to fans that sounded noble, even loyal. But to lawyers, it looked more like a cover story crafted to protect business interests. The irony cuts deep. Prince spent decades fighting corporate control, even writing "slave" across his face in protest against record label manipulation, while Jay-Z built his entire empire on mastering that same corporate power. That clash wasn't just philosophy. It was domination versus freedom, monopoly versus integrity. It was about who gets to control legacy. And when you look closer, it mirrors what's unfolding around Diddy. Both men built massive empires on charm, money, and powerful networks. But now those same circles look toxic, radioactive even. Investigators digging into Diddy's finances have started connecting dots that stretch across decades of hip-hop royalty. Insiders claim blackmail material, tapes, recordings, and photos from those infamous private gatherings had been quietly circulating for years. People allegedly traded silence and favors just to keep certain clips from ever seeing daylight. And Prince, always the visionary, always suspicious, reportedly warned those close to him that artists were being owned in new ways. Whether he meant through contracts or literal recordings, his message hits harder than ever now. Looking back, Jay-Z and Beyoncé's obsession with image control makes more sense. Earlier this year, a major talk show host publicly apologized after airing an interview where a former collaborator made disturbing claims about Jay-Z and about Beyoncé's alleged links to Diddy. Within days, legal teams swooped in, demanding the footage be cut immediately, calling every accusation baseless and defamatory. The host quickly folded, editing the interview, pulling the video, and releasing a statement about legal limits. That kind of retraction almost never happens, proving just how fast the Carter's team can kill a story before it catches fire. Behind the scenes, producers and journalists admit they've been quietly warned not to touch anything linking the couple to Diddy's unfolding scandal. Every scrubbed clip and deleted post only fuels suspicion about what's really being hidden. At the same time, the so-called Prince Vault leaks are spreading through dark corners of the web. Anonymous users claim to hold encrypted drives packed with emails, bank records, and footage involving major industry figures, though nothing's been verified. The strange part? Digital breadcrumbs seem to lead back to former employees from Prince's estate, some of whom allegedly copied files before new management took over. A few were later rehired by companies tied to Roc Nation, raising serious eyebrows. If that's true, Prince's archive was scattered long before lawyers could lock it down. And now, federal agents digging into Diddy's alleged empire are reportedly reviewing communications that connect several entertainment elites, including some with close ties to the Carters. They're not named defendants, but their proximity keeps their names buzzing in speculation circles. Some insiders claim Prince's files only exposed industry greed. Others whisper it revealed something far darker. Leaked whispers point to secret deals, hush money, and powerful cleaners paid to bury scandals before they explode. The irony? Jay-Z once called himself Prince's spiritual heir, fighting for independence and artist control. But everything about this vault drama paints him as the opposite, a mogul obsessed with owning every master, every narrative, every voice that could challenge his. Even Beyoncé's flawless, disciplined image fits that same script. Their empire thrives on perfection, which is why any link to Diddy's chaos could crack the whole foundation. When their names appeared in court filings, the legal team moved instantly, wiping mentions clean, but every erasure just made the whispers louder. Each denial leaves fans asking what's really being hidden. Through it all, Prince's shadow looms large, the man who warned that owning art means owning identity. If these new leaks did come from his private archive, they could rewrite everything we thought we knew about celebrity power. Imagine if those files proved that blackmail, not talent, kept certain stars untouchable. And what if the same couple preaching empowerment were part of the silence machine themselves? No proof yet, but the silence speaks volumes. We're left with a chilling full circle. Diddy on trial, Jay-Z buried in lawsuits, and a digital trail said to link them both back to the one man who saw it all coming, Prince. The longer these mystery files float around, the louder the panic grows. Denials, statements, and late-night phone calls flying everywhere. If these documents are real, they could expose the hidden economy of secrets running modern fame itself. And if the next leak drops more names, this won't just be Diddy's downfall, it'll be a full-blown reckoning for an entire generation of power players. Because if Prince's files truly reveal how silence, money, and influence intertwine, then the Carters aren't just battling rumors. They're battling a man's legacy that never died. So the real question is, who's holding those files now, and what happens when the next leak hits? Like, share, comment, and subscribe. You won't want to miss what drops next.